New York State lawmakers have agreed to pass one of the most ambitious climate change bills in the country. Talk about a completely different reaction.
Right.
The bill, called Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, it includes the implementation of 100% carbon-free electricity by 2040 and net zero emissions by 2050.
New York will become the 6th state to pass this kind of clean energy policy. So for more on this, let's bring in Michael Gerrard. He's the director of the Sabin Center for Climate Change and a professor of climate change and energy law at Columbia University. Good to see you again.
Good morning.
So what are some of the highlights of this bill?
As said, this is going to require 100% clean energy by 2040. The plan is to build 18 nuclear power plants worth of offshore wind facilities and photovoltaic cells onshore and storage, and also a lot of additional wind and transmission. It's going to be a massive construction project.
So when I read about this, I immediately started to sort of tick off all the things that would need to change. And I thought about the buses, I thought about the cabs, like that alone, to replace all those with electric vehicles. Is there a concrete plan in place at all? And is it overly ambitious, or is it doable?
It's as ambitious as we need to be in order to meet the Paris temperature targets. It's going to require complete electrification of the passenger vehicle fleet, not right away. Nobody's going to have to get rid of their existing car, but in the decades to come, the new cars are going to have to be electric. Same with buses and light trucks.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question, Michael. There are a lot of people who have seen this administration roll back some of the policies that were put into place under the Obama administration, specifically when it comes to the EPA and other issues related to climate. Is this a path to a path towards the future where individual states grab the bull by the horns and enact legislation that benefits the state, as opposed to worrying so much about what is happening in Washington, D.C.?
That's exactly right. The Trump administration has tried to roll back everything, although a recent report from our center, the Sabin Center for Climate Change Law, shows that not one of their rollbacks has survived in court. But at the state level, there's a great deal that can be done. The states have almost complete control over our electricity supply, over energy efficiency in buildings, over the way our transit networks run, so we have a lot of discretion. One area where we don't have complete control is emission controls on motor vehicles, and that's where there's a big fight between the states and the Trump administration.
So right before we started talking to you, we talked about what happened in Oregon, where the Republicans literally ran out of the room because they wanted to avoid this vote, a vote on similar legislation. Clearly, people are very passionate about it. There are some groups that feel that this is burdensome to business and perhaps we're moving too rapidly. Give me an idea of what the pushback is. And, is there a downside?
Well, it's costly. Nobody knows exactly how costly it will be, but it will also create a great many jobs. Just retrofitting buildings to be energy efficient in New York City has been estimated to create as many as 125,000 jobs, which is 5 times as many jobs as Amazon would have brought to New York City. Now, there will be some jobs lost, and the bill does have a lot of provisions for helping the people who are losers in the fossil fuel transition.
Michael, this is great, but this is not going to happen until 2050, and unless there's a change in medical science, I will probably not be around to see it. I would like to see it. I would like to live in a world where changes like this are enacted and that they have a positive effect on the environment, but I won't be around. And a lot of scientists say we don't really have as much time as something like this to fix the problems that we have on this planet already.
It's not going to happen all at once. It's going to be phased in, and already right now the state is going forward with plans to build this massive program of offshore wind farms. It's going to be a rapid project over the next several decades, not all at once in 2050.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope I'm around to see it.
You'll be around. Are you kidding me?
I don't know, Emery.
You take care of yourself. Michael Gerrard, thank you very much.
Michael, thank you. Very great to see you as always.